Welcome to the Indie Studio.
Welcome to Indie Studio Podcast. We're happy to have everyone back for another episode. Today we have some special guests in the studio. For those with keen eyes who are watching the podcast, you might recognize my shirt today if you might be a fan of Cardboard Cutouts. Welcome, guys.
Thanks for having
Thank you for having us.
Crew.
No, I'm so happy to have you guys here. Like I said, I'm a little bit biased because I have been a long-time fan of you guys.
You have very bad taste.
So I don't know if that's a good way to advertise your band, but regardless, no, seriously, so stoked to have you here.
Thank you.
For the listeners or the people watching who might not know you guys yet, do you want to go through, give a little introduction as to who you guys are?
Yeah. So we're Cardboard Cutouts, and we're from Toowoomba originally. I'm Elliot. I play the guitar and sing. You guys can introduce yourselves. You're all...
I'm Rowan, I play drums.
I'm Seb, I play bass.
I'm Campbell, I play guitar.
So why don't we start kind of from the beginning and talk through kind of like the evolution of the band, how it started, how you guys ended up where you are now.
Yeah. So we started in high school with Rowan and I playing, I think we played a show for like someone's 40th birthday party or something, and then we just kind of evolved from there. We had Jackson, who's like longtime friend. He was playing bass for us for a really long time, and then we recorded a couple of singles at school with our teacher Charmy, and then
Did we?
we did, and
What
you
was
know
recorded at school?
So we recorded "Such Is Life." Now that didn't get released, that version. There was
And
a
then-
demo, and then we ended up recording our first EP, at a studio in Toowoomba.
Is that released?
Yeah, that was "Such Is Life," Insane, Unfinished Thoughts.
It wasn't released as an EP. It was
No, it
released
wasn't.
as two
Yeah.
separate single
Yeah.
projects.
Insane is up on Spotify.
Yeah.
Such as Life as well,
Yeah.
yeah. So pretty organic kind of start
Yeah,
to the band. And it wasn't this like configuration of members.
No.
So Elliot and Rowan, you two were like the OG.
Founding
We
fathers.
started this
And
thing.
did you have the name yet?
No. We started out. I think our first gig was advertised as Elliot, Argus and Friends, and I wasn't about that. 'Cause I was like,
yeah.
yeah. And we were thinking of a name, and I actually found a list of the original like notes on my phone with like all of the like names that we were thinking of calling the band, and it's really cringy.
Come on, give us
Yeah.
some examples.
Oh, they're really bad.
Grandma's Curtains.
That was a good one.
That is the best
That
one.
was the
We should
best
have been
one.
called
Well,
Grandma's
that's so
Curtains.
funny.
Yeah.
It sounds like that would make such a great like song
It
name, maybe.
would. Yeah, it would. Yeah. But no, there was some really bad ones in there. Home and Display. I remember Rowan going, "Hey, this we should call ourselves Home and Display."
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, I do distinctly. I think it was a joke, but it made the list.
Was that
I
a
don't
case
remember what would
of
have
It was
prompted
either
me to
you
make
or
that
Jackson. But
It was
a
probably
case
Jackson.
of like
Jackson
picking
was
up a
full of bad
magazine
ideas.
or something and
Yeah.
home and display?
Home and Display.
Display?
I don't know.
That's not a name I'd come up with.
I'm not even joking. I will find the note.
Please
Pull
do.
it
I
up
want-
for
I
sure.
want-
I'll pull it up. And then we ended up on Cardboard Cutouts randomly. I think Rowan came up with that
We've
name.
been over this several times. It wasn't me.
No, it actually was Elliot that came up with that name. He
Every
just doesn't.
time he's asked
yeah.
this question,
He always
gives
goes
me
to
the
Rowan, and it's been proven that it was Elliot.
Yeah.
I think it's a good name though. I feel like it's like it evokes this kind of like organic sort of like I don't know, kind of homemade. When you think like a cardboard cutout, I don't know. It's like it's
We're a
kind
big
of a bit,
DIY. is what
bit
you're trying to
DIY.
say.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks, pretend.
We're a bit
No,
shit.
but you guys like you have this very like I don't want to say DIY, but you have like a history, and we'll get into it. But you have a history of really carving out your way yourselves. You make a lot of your own music, especially up until only recently. I know you have a home studio. You do a lot of that stuff. You write your own music. and you manage all of your things yourself for the most part. Like, I think it's a good representation of you guys. And even if you continue to grow and you see a bit more representation or, you know, a bit more like management or that kind of thing, it's still like reflecting the roots of what your band is.
Yeah. I hadn't really thought of it like that, but
That's how I view it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of cutesy.
And
I was
also,
like,
I feel like a lot of, I don't know if this is purposeful, but a lot of your album art and your single covers and that kind of thing, it's like hand drawn.
That's because we're broke and kind of.
That's because I was like, hey guys, I can do this in MS Paint.
Yeah, that was we needed something done, and Rowan just went on to paint and like knock something
Give
out
me
in
3
10
hours of
minutes.
Microsoft
No,
Paint
but
and I'll do something.
That's exactly it. Like, you guys are so involved with every single little part of what you do that, like, almost like the way that your band is represented visually reflects the name of your band. It's really cool.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, you guys were screen printing your own merch way back in the day.
Yeah, that's
that was
also
a
because
long
we're
bit.
broke and couldn't afford
Yeah.
merch.
That was cool
we had,
merch,
a production line of at my mum's house, and it would
Shout
be
out Wendy.
Thanks, Wendy. And yeah, we would just screen print and screen print and screen print. And I remember the first time that we did it, I think we like sold out of our shirts at like the first gig that we had them at. We played with Crocodilus, who are like I think they're from the Gong or like New South Wales or something. They're a random like indie band that are actually like pretty up there in the scene, and they just happened to play in Toowoomba, and we had shirts, and yeah, we
I love
sold
how
them.
Rowan just does not
What
remember
venue was this
anything.
at?
It was
This
at
was
USQ.
at a youth festival, the Falling Leaves Festival. We played with Shark Drive, G Strings, and Maisie
Was that
Islands.
the daytime one?
No, it was at night. It was in the Clyde Berghofer uni basketball thing.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
And they like it was crazy. It was like the first gig that we went that was like catered. They had like Crackerjack chicken.
The one that Alex Riley was at.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They had
yeah.
like Crackerjack, and they had absolutely everything. It was very cool.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a pivotal
it was a pivotal
moment.
Yeah,
Yeah. And you guys, did you find you were selling merch to people who didn't know you?
Yeah, I think so. I think a part of that as well was like, because it was a youth festival, it was like, oh, you know, kids have like, you know, $30, and we were the only band that had merch, and people were like, oh, they're kind of cool, and they're like just spending their parents' money. So, you know, thanks parents.
I think that's
parents.
like, it's got to be a huge motivation boost when you're kind of at that point though, as a band where you're only really starting out and getting gigs and still finding your feet. You've decided to do merch for the first time and you've sold through it.
Yeah, it was very good. It was scary, but you know.
Was that kind of a contributing factor towards spurring you guys on towards doing your first EP and making that like a physical product?
I think so. I just think it's kind of cool to have like your CD or like your music
Like
as physical,
Yeah,
physical
forms.
things,
Yeah.
physical forms.
Well, more and more when people aren't really owning like a digital purchase, especially now when streaming, it's not so common in music, but with like television or movie streaming, when a site suddenly decides, oh, we're not going to renew a license, you might
don't
have bought
have
that film, but now you can't access it anymore.
yeah.
When it comes to any kind of digital media, I guess there's security in knowing that what you've bought,
It's
you
yours.
own.
There was a little part of that when we decided to do CDs for weekends, but I think the other thing was just we just wanted to have something small that we could sell. So if someone was like, I want to support you guys, but I don't have $30 for a shirt, it's like, right, $10 CD.
for CD,
Like,
no sticker.
yeah. And my grandparents really wanted one.
They're good mementos.
They're good. We've got
We've
my
got
good
heaps. We
friends-
haven't sold them. there is like 50 of them sitting in my house
Was
right
there
now.
like a minimum quantity you had to order?
I think it was like 50.
No, it was 100,
was
and we got a
100?
little bit
Excited.
overconfident.
Yeah.
I still reckon you can sell through them. Keep taking them
Yeah.
out. To
I
your
don't
gigs.
think we've got that many left. I don't know if I own a copy.
Sign them.
Yeah.
Sell signed ones.
We do have a mate, Geordie, who he's got one CD in his car, and it's Weekends, and he will just like, it's either he has his Bluetooth speaker in the back or he's listening to Weekends, and it's very cool. Like getting into his car and it's like, oh, Thanks, Geordie. Like, people are actually listening to this.
Well, I guess on the topic of back in like the kind of earlier days of the band, you guys really got your start in Toowoomba. Do you think that there was a benefit in being in a smaller city with a kind of closer knit community in terms of building a fairly dedicated and organic fan base, even if it was small?
I think that in terms of being able to build a pretty solid fan base, it was good. But I think it also a little bit kind of shot us in the foot. Kind of trying to branch out into Brisbane was a lot harder because we'd play shows in Toowoomba where we'd have people there that knew our stuff. And we'd play a show in Brisbane to 5 people.
5 people in Rick's
And
backyard
that
on a
5
Sunday.
people was just the band who had played
before.
immediately before us. And so it was kind of a little bit of like, yeah, it benefited us when we were playing Toowoomba shows. They were always good. But then we'd play shows anywhere but Toowoomba and it'd be like, didn't go as good as the Toowoomba show.
Yeah.
So when you guys started coming up to Brisbane more often and playing gigs here, how did you go about kind of creating that network and those connections with venues and bands in order to be able to kind of branch out this way, since you didn't have much of a existing fan base or connection here to begin with?
I think a lot of that came from like our connections in Toowoomba. Like, we played a few shows where we were like, okay, we want to play a show in Brisbane. We'll contact the venue and like get that happening. But I think like a really big stepping stone for us in kind of like playing shows in the Brissy scene was a band, Annoying Neighbours. They played a show in Toowoomba that we just happened to be on the lineup for. And we ended up, they really liked us and we were hanging out. We played at their EP launch, and then the venue manager there was like, oh, we want you guys back in a couple of weeks. Played with another band that were a lot bigger than what we'd played with before. And that kind of just snowballed from there, because I think that like once you get those first like couple of steps of like playing with other bands that people do know, it kind of, I know, in my eyes, legitimizes the band a little bit more. That like we weren't just, oh yeah, this like shitty band from Toowoomba that's trying to get into the scene. It kind of felt as though like people were recognizing us for what we wanted, so like what we were. So I don't know. I feel like we've been really lucky with just like opportunities coming like to us, I suppose.
Yeah, well, I think luck might be a part of it, but you guys got to give yourself credit where credit's due. You're very charismatic performers, like all of you guys. When you're on stage, it's a performance. It's not just like 4 dudes up there whacking away at
Greg Bass.
instruments. Like, you're so interactive with each other, you're interactive with the audience, and I think that people see that and they go, well, these guys they're good. They're really good. They're really engaging. Let's have them back. Let's have them come and open for us, because, you know, if a band like you guys is opening for someone, then the crowd is actually going to be nice and warmed up and really into it. Because I noticed I attended your weekend's launch at, what was that, Powerhouse? In Brisbane. Not Brisbane, Toowoomba, not
Powerhouse.
Brisbane.
Yeah.
You guys
We're not
can't,
that successful.
not quite there yet. Not quite there yet. But, you
One
know, put it out into the universe. But Toowoomba Powerhouse, and you played like all your own stuff.
That was an hour and a half
Yeah.
set.
And it was all original music,
There
right?
was 3 covers.
Yeah. It was phenomenal, though. It didn't matter that was a whole new EP of music, that most of which the audience wouldn't have known.
I think actually we played more songs on that gig that were either had never been recorded or still have not been recorded than what we actually played, because there was 6 songs on that EP. We played 5 of them.
So you guys have like quite an extensive backlog of original stuff.
We
that's
did.
just you're working through recording it, or
Yeah.
It's like, this is an idea we kind of like. Let's not do it. This is an idea we really like. We'll do that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so do you kind of take live gigs as an opportunity to trial some stuff in the works
We
and
definitely
see
did
how
back in the day. It's a lot more planned now.
Yeah, okay. So
Yeah, we kind of burned ourselves out a lot of the time on material before we'd even recorded it. Or it's like we'd get to the point where it's like, we're about to release this and we've been playing the song for like 3 years. So we're all like, all right, we're sick of this song. We're about to release it. We play it for 3 shows, and then we're like, all right, can we cut this from the set now? And it's like, it's just been released.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see how that could end up happening. I mean, we've got like legacy bands out there who refuse to play their most famous music. So
It's true.
yeah,
It's true. We don't have to play insane every time.
no. But like on the topic of kind of like making those connections and finding gigs, you guys started out doing like free kind of gigs, community kind of stuff. What was the transition into finding paid work like for you, and how did you go about kind of negotiating fair rates and that kind of thing?
Yeah.
Fair rates.
Was that a learning curve?
Yeah, I suppose it's still a learning curve for us because I think there's a very big distinction between, you know, a band like us that like we just play originals, we don't go play cover gigs and stuff. And then there's cover bands who like just go out and play like 4-hour cover shows and that's their thing. And I think that it's a very, very different market between your original bands and your cover bands. So we've often discussed like, oh, you know, maybe we should just like get a 4-hour set and play cover shows and get paid like, you know, $1,200 for a night. But instead we'll, you know, just work on our passion and get paid like $100 to play a shitty show that we have fun at.
That we spend more in parking and fuel than what we get paid.
Yeah.
That's often the case.
That is pretty much exclusively the case.
Yeah. It's really difficult for original bands to without like something physical that people can hold, like merch. Like merch is where people make money. It's not really ticket sales. Most venues, they've got such a high turnover in how many artists that they can get in that if you say, okay, we want this X amount of money for this show, they'll be like, oh no, that's all good. This is what we're giving you. And if you don't want to take it, we'll get someone else.
Right. So it's taking a loss for the sake of being able to play your music and play your show the way you want to.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a worthwhile trade-off?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, I guess you're still doing
We're doing
it.
it,
So.
yeah.
We're still doing it and we're loving it. Yeah.
Do you
And-
see much like audience, like returning audience growth when you do a lot of these
Yeah,
gigs?
that's been a really weird one recently. We've had a bunch of people that we don't know who we just keep seeing turn up at gigs, and it always used to be we'd have a really good audience retention from people that we knew. It'd be like, oh, we always knew we could get 20 people into a room because it'd be the same 20 people that have been at our first gig.
Yeah.
But then you get like, we've had gigs recently where you have people turn up and we've never seen them in our lives and they're standing right at the front singing all the words to like 5 songs and then go, all right, those are the songs we wanted to hear, and then disappear. But they constantly still turning up to stuff, hearing the ones that they like, and then going and getting a drink, then coming back out right at the end.
Yeah.
Which we've never really had apart from people we went to high school with, or like just friends from uni and stuff.
We have some
that's-
very,
yeah.
very dedicated, loyal people that come
Yeah.
to all of the gigs, which is great. It's kind of like we can pretty much always establish like a really good energy because we've got people there supporting us, which we're very thankful for.
Yes.
To Geordie and Tristan. and a few others.
Geordie and
Thanks,
Tristan,
Geordie, Tristan.
the goats,
Absolute
travelled
carry.
all the way to Maryborough,
Yeah.
just to
Geordie's come out to
a gig.
Roma.
Geordie's come to Roma for us,
Yeah.
just so he
Wow.
could come to a gig, so we weren't playing to no one.
Yeah.
Did they come to the Byron or were they planning to come to the...
They were planning, but
Yeah.
no one. They didn't come.
They didn't come.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, they
Slacked
came
it.
to Roma and Maryborough.
Yeah.
So,
Slightly
you
far
know,
away.
I think that, like, yeah, us 4, like, we've been really hard working and doing all that stuff. But, like, I don't think that nearly half of our shows would be as good without, like, our mates, like Geordie and Tristan.
Absolutely.
And, like, just coming and... Because it's not really us that set the tone for, like, the audience. Like, yeah, we play, like, a huge part in that. But if you don't have somebody there that's, like, getting into it and dancing and, like, doing all of that sort of stuff, like, sometimes the vibe is a little bit weird and people don't get into it.
You need someone to break the barrier between like people watching and people participating.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. And we've been just so fortunate that we've like had good mates that will show up to every gig that we have, whether we're playing to 3 people or 100 people.
I'm kind of interested. So you guys like have done a bit of a local tour as well. And that's a bit of a different process, I imagine, than finding these kind of Friday gigs, Saturday gigs in the city. How did you go about managing that process?
We
Especially
didn't.
being
So
kind of
we outsourced.
independent.
Yeah.
Yeah, outsourced?
Yes.
Yeah. So,
Kind of.
yeah, kind of outsourced.
We've got a friend, Mr. Harrison, and he was originally a photographer. He did photos for us. He rocked up. He came all the way to Toowoomba for was it the first power?
Yeah, no,
It
it
was
was
the
our
weekends.
it was our EP
Weekends.
launch.
Yeah. And he just like, oh, come, I'll drive from Brisbane to Toowoomba and take photos of you guys. And we were like,
For free.
Cool.
Didn't want to be
Why?
paid. Just wanted to come and take
Yeah.
photos.
We met him. He was a great guy. So we become bestest buds. And now he just kind of like helps us with managing stuff. He moved to Melbourne recently. But
Yeah, to study managing like bands. Like,
yeah,
that's what he wants
we are
to
his
do.
practice band, basically. So he'll just be
Yeah.
like, hey, you guys should tour. I'm going to make you a tour.
That is pretty much how that tour came about. He wanted experience booking a tour and messages going, "Hey, I'm doing this. Can you make sure that these dates work for you guys?" And they did. So we went, "All right, we're going on tour."
So you guys didn't know Harrison prior to the weekend's launch?
No.
Or?
We got a message from him on like Facebook, I think.
Yeah, I
the
think
day of or the day before.
I think the EP came out like maybe it
came out on a Friday.
on the Friday, and
Yeah.
we had the show on the Saturday, and he'd heard it and went, "Oh, I want to take photos of these guys," and came down, and like we've just been hanging out with him ever since. He's like, a really integral part of us navigating the
Wow.
music scene. Yeah.
That's kind of cool that connection kind of just landed in your lap that way. But I
Yeah.
guess that kind of lends a little bit to the importance of social media and marketing your band as well. So how have you guys found kind of utilizing social media can be beneficial towards, making those sorts of connections and building up a bit of a fan base and legitimacy around what you're doing?
It's definitely, I think, help us like connect with like other artists and like putting forward gigs and stuff. Yeah, I don't know if I've like seen any like drastic sort of like things happen from like social media posting, but I think we're still in the early stages. We're still testing a bunch of different things. I know we nuked our Instagram late last year and like kind of redid it to like kind of make a bit more sense
bit of
in
a
terms
cleanse.
of
Yeah, we did a little bit of
Yeah.
cleanse.
For us,
it's
it's-
about to have a deep cleanse.
It's
Yeah.
kind of just functioned like a portfolio almost for
Yeah.
like mainly for like when you hit up a venue, they can see what you've done, where you've played, links to your music, all that kind of stuff is super necessary. I think we haven't really used it as like a total social media tool, and that we haven't like grinded it. We haven't like done like daily posts or anything like that, or like making content really.
Yeah.
It's just been kind of, we've just used it as like an updating, or we're playing gigs here, or this song is coming out here. Yeah, so it's something we could look into.
Yeah, we're
using
not normally
more.
even very good at that. We normally go, "Oh, we're doing a gig tomorrow. We should probably post."
Yeah.
Or, "Oh, this EP comes out on Friday and it's Monday. We should probably let
Yeah.
people know." That was our last EP. We
Yeah.
announced it like 4 days beforehand.
Yeah.
Is there anyone, like any one of you, who is particularly like in charge of social media?
Elliot.
Look, not really, but it's kind of fallen
Elliot.
into my hands.
We should
Yeah.
probably assign someone who isn't Elliot that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you consider like outsourcing that sort of work? I know you guys like financially.
We're broke.
Yeah. But
If anyone
like,
wants to manage our socials for free, and we trust you.
I do know there are some bands who just rope in a friend who goes to
Yeah.
all their gigs, takes photos, posts for them.
I think like the one issue I suppose with outsourcing is that like for the longest time, like for the entirety of our like career, is that like we have been completely and unapologetically cardboard cutouts. And I think outsourcing that, like although, we're not particularly great at social media, I think outsourcing that might lose a little bit of that,
Personality.
personality. Then again, I'm not sure how much personality the posts have. So Yeah, maybe that's just me being a control freak and I want to hit the post button.
Some of your little TikToks,
Yeah,
they have like quite a bit of personality.
Yeah,
I do
those
enjoy the
TikToks are fire.
TikToks. Yeah, when I have time
We
to
should probably
do them.
repost them on like Instagram and
We
stuff.
should. My favorite was I wrote a poem for Light Sleeper when Light Sleeper came out, and I don't know if that was a TikTok or an Instagram thing,
I
but
think it was TikTok.
yeah.
should
And we
post
did an
that.
ad with Tristan.
Oh, the
yeah.
Google.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
And that went really well.
And what about marketing in other forms? So do you guys reach out to like any of the local radio, or you've come on the podcast with me today, or this kind of thing? Is that something that you guys seek out as well in terms of like just getting your name out there?
Definitely when we're doing like a release, we usually like email a bunch of different places and see what the vibes are. We've done a few different radio things in the past.
Harrison normally handles that all for us.
Yeah.
Thanks, Harrison.
Thanks, Harrison.
So even with him in Melbourne, does he still help you guys manage a lot of this stuff?
Yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
he's super involved. Like,
I actually think he's become more involved since he moved away.
yeah, it's really cool. I think we're really privileged that we can kind of like, he doesn't have to be in Brisbane or Toowoomba. Like, we're all from we don't live in the same town, so like lots of the stuff that we do is online or over Messenger or stuff like that. So I think, yeah, he's just kind of sends a message, we're doing this, or like, what do you guys think about this, what's happening in your world?
Right.
Like,
I guess on that note, because you guys are all, you have lives aside from being in the band, jobs, family things, you're all living in different places and doing different things. How do you manage 4 people and Harrison in a way that you can kind of fit gigs and rehearsals and opportunities into all of your lives and around what's going on outside of the band?
it's really hard.
Google Calendar.
Google
Yeah,
Calendar.
it's mainly like forward planning and like scheduling. That's
Yeah.
the only way we can.
Yeah.
Do anything.
We used to be horrible with it.
Yeah.
And then I think it was around the time of the tour. I think Elliot made a Google Calendar for us because we'd get to the point where no one would know what was going on. I'm pretty sure there were some of our tour dates we weren't even really sure what was actually happening.
I think lots of that came from Rowan, when Rowan branched out and started doing like working with other musicians and stuff, and kind of went, oh, like everyone else does this and has a Google Calendar, like we should also do that. And I think that's helped a lot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and
We
these
now
two-
know what we're doing most of the time, like kind of at least 2 months in advance.
Yeah, which is super necessary because these two work 9 to 5s, but on different schedules.
Yeah.
So Saturdays is the only day that we collectively as a band always have free, and that's just like as bare minimum like work stuff. So as soon as anyone's got anything extra, it's like weeks before we can actually do anything.
Yeah.
Seb,
Yes.
you're the most recent addition to the band. You joined around the Weekends EP, like we mentioned earlier, when Jackson moved away and you swapped over. I'm kind of interested in what the process was for you to come into the band at that time.
I think I was thinking about it. It was kind of easy, I reckon. Not the easiest. I've never experienced like playing in a band like that before. But if there was ever a point to jump in, I think after the Weekends EP made it
Perfect
like
timing.
Yeah, made it work really well. You know, they released like the catalog of original stuff, and we just had sort of like a clean slate of just learning the songs, playing them, and then just working on a bunch of new stuff straight after. Like I think in it, I was quite lucky in that respect of just kind of jumping in afterwards.
So did you guys kind of bring Seb into rehearsals leading up to that
Yeah,
and kind
so
of transition from Jackson
Basically,
to Seb?
Jackson sent through a message saying he was moving to Melbourne. He sent it to me about 4 days before he sent it to the group chat. So I kind of just knew about it and was pretty much sworn to secrecy. But during that time, I was just kind of like, shit, we're going to need a bass player. Because we had 4 gigs lined up that Jackson was no longer going to be in the state.
Yeah, because he played the Weekends show.
Yeah,
and then,
and then
2
he
days
left 2
later,
days
he
later.
left, Yeah,
And we had a few gigs already locked in that we didn't really want to pull out on. So I'd already kind of drafted a message to Seb before anyone even knew that Jackson was leaving. Like just kind of going, hey, we really need someone for a couple of gigs. And that's all it was originally like kind of said to him, as it was like, we need someone for a few gigs. And then if it goes well, then we'll go from there.
Yeah.
And we had one rehearsal that was Elliot and I and Seb in the shed at Elliot's old place. And Seb walked in and played our entire set, pretty much note for note.
Holy hell yeah.
And so
You're
it was
hired.
pretty much, yeah, just kind of like he showed up to
Yeah.
the rehearsal and could play the set. And it was like, cool,
So
that's
he,
perfect.
he was a session musician for like 4 gigs, so he actually got
Yeah.
paid. And then
Yeah,
was
he
like,
did.
Hey, you want to be in the
He did
band?
get paid, and then he just got a message one day going, "You're not getting paid anymore,
Yeah.
buddy. You're now actively paying to be here."
Yeah.
Wow.
Free
So
trial
like
expired.
promoted, but
Yeah, promoted, but
no longer
massive.
paid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys miss Jackson though?
We love Jackson.
We love Jackson. He's a very
moved back?
charismatic fella,
Yeah.
and I think that when Jackson left, it was like
It was heartbreaking.
I don't think we realized how much energy that he brought, just because. But there would be times where like he just like wouldn't play his part, and he'd just like jump up and down.
Yeah,
It's
throw
like,
shirts
it's
out.
like you give
people-
and take.
Right.
Love
I
Jackson.
think
At
that's
our,
the case with
at our
everyone,
EP
right?
launch, his last gig, he just abandoned playing bass for like half of a song just to throw t-shirts at the crowd. The ass completely fell out of the mix, but it was like, oh, it was a good moment.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll have fun with it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
was his last show. He could do whatever he wanted.
Yeah.
And did you find with Seb joining the kind of feel of the group changed a little bit?
I actually think the weirdest thing is, in terms of like being a different bass player, it didn't feel weird. I think the weirdest dynamic change was between the three of us. Like it always felt weird, like to me, dynamic. Like having a different bass player there is like, if you're not paying attention to there being a different bass player, a lot of the time it was like not as noticeable, but it felt like it was like, okay, we're in a different stage of this now. So we were all kind of going a little bit more in, still not like fully like, okay, this is what we're wanting to just do forever. But it was like, we all kind of committed a little bit in a different way. So there was a little bit more of a kind of tension going, all right, we need to make this work if we're going to actually, if we're bothering to replace Jackson, we can't half-ass this. Like we need to get a good player. But then it was like, it felt a little bit weird for the first couple gigs. I think our energy was always just a little bit off.
No.
And we played our first few with Seb, and it was like, okay, this is gonna work. This will be
Yeah.
fine. Like we don't really need to worry. It's gonna be good.
Which
was-
was kind of like that regular teething, I suppose, with you. When
Yeah.
you're playing with, or just working on a team with
Yeah,
new people.
and new people.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Seb?
Well, again, like completely different for me. I didn't notice any kind of teething issues from you guys, but then again, I've never been in that setting. I've never played with you guys properly in that sort of capacity either, so I didn't notice it, but very glad for what it's brought forward. So
And you'd never been in a band like this prior to it, right?
no sort of like rock or cover band, like obviously stuff in like school for
Yeah.
music and stuff, and like big bands, but never like a rock.
Did you
pop band.
anticipate like doing this kind of thing?
I was hoping for it. It was one of the reasons I was like doing uni to get into this sort of thing. But yeah, no, it's definitely where I wanted to be, so worked out.
Good, yeah. And like Rowan, you have kind of started up in another band as well,
Correct.
which is how you guys learned how to use Google Calendar.
Correct.
Good job. Do you find being in two bands allows you to have a bit more creative fulfillment?
For sure. Yes.
Is that part of like your motivation in
Entirely.
doing that? Yeah.
So I really like heavy music. And so I have like a metal project as well.
Oh,
which
that's
is-
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, nice and fun. And it kind of like lets me scratch some of those itches, especially as like a lot of it was wanting to push forward like my own drumming. And there's kind of a cap with that with kind of like genres. Like there's certain limits to like, I guess it just comes to not overplaying into music. And it's a lot harder to overplay in a metal bands than in Cardboard Cutouts.
Well, that's good then that you
So
have that kind of
I can just
fulfillment.
use it to like push myself and throw out crazier ideas. That
Yeah.
don't necessarily fit this band, and then this band I can be more focused on in a more musical way, I believe. Yeah.
And by like scheduling ahead, you're able to balance those responsibilities pretty well.
Yeah, I haven't had any clashes or issues yet, but I mean, neither band is gigging super actively. But I think both bands will be wanting to do more kind of planned release shows and tour kind of things. Than just like the grind that we used to do. Like we're kind of over let's play Greaser this weekend next
Yeah.
week. Grind.
Yeah, very much over
It's kind of
that.
old.
Yeah.
And it's just more fun if you go, oh yeah, we'll play one Brisbane show every 2 months, because you always get a good turnout then, and it's just a more fun show.
Yeah.
It means a lot more.
Yeah,
There's a little bit
you're
more
also
nerves
not like
involved.
getting to the gig and going, I'm exhausted and I don't want to be here. We were here last week.
You're like creating your own supply and demand as well. As
Yeah.
a business and band, it's like, if we appear in the city once every 2 months, we're going to get way more people than appearing every 2 weeks.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, on the topic of your music, you guys released some stuff last year. You had an album come out. You've got some stuff in the works for this year, is it, as well?
We'll see. Maybe
Yeah.
one single at the end of the year, but most of it will be like
next
year.
At the very least, something's cooking.
There's,
it's definitely cooking.
we're in the kitchen.
Yeah.
I think what's really cool about you guys as a band is you're not very constrained by genre. Like, I know you don't go full metal like Rowan.
Not all the time. We do.
We have one
actually
song.
do now.
Okay, you do now, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
wait. Yeah.
So, is there like a reason that you guys prefer to take an approach that's kind of varied like this?
We just kind of play what we want. Like,
Yeah.
Ellie will be like, hey guys, I wrote this reggae song. And we'll be like,
Okay.
cool.
Yeah.
I've got this drum part that's kind of rocky. Let's put those together and let's see what we get.
Yeah.
I feel like this new project is a lot less of that. I feel like we've
Yeah.
actually settled in a lot more
Yes.
to a genre.
Yeah, it's a bit more
Yeah.
focused.
Yeah, it's not as much like, all right, we've got this really like super poppy song, and then this song that's really reggae, and then this song that's like just completely different. It's now this next project is a lot more.
In the same vein.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it kind of it feels a lot more like we've kind of matured into kind of figuring out what we actually want
Yeah,
to
it's got
play.
like an A-side genre and then a B-side genre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that it's you're right. I think that the like new stuff that we're writing, we are a lot more matured with it. And I think that the stuff that we have released in the past, like our last EP really was like from the get-go supposed to be like an experiment really of like what we can do like in terms of like pop world. Like 2 of the songs on that EP, Light Sleeper and Thinking Too Much, were joke songs. Like they weren't written to be Cardboard Cutout songs, and it just happened that way. And
We literally put together Light Sleeper in 15 minutes before Seb's first gig.
Yeah.
Wow.
and then
Was it first? No, it might
it
have been a
was
couple
it was
weeks.
in the
Yeah, it
first
was-
week of his
yeah.
gigs. Like so I think although like the album is going to sound a lot different to what we have just released, except for Grandma's Curtains, because it's kind of in the same vein. I think it is a lot more us, like as a band. We kind of started, like when we started playing in high school, like the songs that we were playing were like rock songs. We were playing like Foo Fighters. We were playing Kiss. We never played Kiss. That
Lot
was
of
a
Smith
joke.
Street Band.
A lot of Smith Street Band. And yeah, we kind of like fell away from that just because we wanted to see what we could do. And I think we're falling back into that, and it's a lot more introspective. And I think the songs are a lot more meaningful.
I think lyrically it's our best work.
Yeah.
Which is great because, I mean, it's still Elliot's work. When you just said our, it's still Elliot's.
So
Yeah, no, okay, but I mean like, yeah.
so you're mostly the lyricist of the group.
Yeah. I'll say
Yeah,
yes.
no, it is.
And
Just
then like
yes.
occasionally someone will go, I think we should change this line. But I also like, we've kind of gone a little bit away from that in terms of like critiquing lyrics like too much, because I feel like that's where a lot of like, I know, tension for us gets built up, because obviously lyrics like a very personal thing. But like I think workshopping that sort of stuff has been really good. Or like I'll go to Campbell and be like, yo, I really like this song. What do you think of this line? Because I'm not 100% sure about it. And Campbell will either go like, nah, man, like that's fine. Or go, okay, we should change it to this. Sebastian's also a really, really good lyric writer as well. And Rowan just hits shit. Yeah.
So it's kind of a collaborative drafting process
Yeah.
in that sense.
Sometimes.
Sometimes,
Yeah,
yeah.
not always.
Some
Not
songs
always.
just write themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. Like Light Sleeper.
And then when it comes to arranging, is it like all hands on deck in terms of
I feel
The
like it is
instrumentation?
now.
It is
Yeah.
now. It never used to be. It was
Yeah.
like,
It was Elliot would pretty much bring a fully formed song and then we would flesh it out.
Yeah, I feel like I am always insisting on structure changes. I'm big
Yeah.
on structure changes. I
Yeah.
like doing that to songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because generally when I write a song, its form is generally like
The same.
slow build up, big section.
I think back in the
done.
Small
day it
bridge.
was like, oh, I've got this chorus and like, oh, I've got this idea for a bridge, and then I'd be like, that's pretty cool. We should do this, and then add like another section here,
Yeah.
another section
Yeah.
here, and we'll repeat this verse here, kind of thing.
I feel like the other kind of thing with it recently is all of our songs, since we've been working with like very heavily with a producer for all of our most recent stuff, we would go into the rehearsal space going, all right, this is what we're going to do. And he would sit there, listen to it once and go, nah. Here's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Get rid of that bridge. I
yeah,
don't like that
that
bridge.
sucks.
Yeah.
Change that. Fix this. Do this instead. And all of the songs have been way stronger for it because it's kind of forced us a little bit outside of that comfort zone that we've always kind of we've kind of often gone back to the same like musical ideas to
Yeah.
if we're not really sure what to do here, okay, we'll do this. We'll maybe do a double chorus here and do this. And then working with Harry is just kind of like, nah.
It's like, okay, let's play a minor 7 flat 5 right here.
Yeah,
And it's
fine.
like, Harry, this is a rock song. It's like, no, trust me, it'll work.
And it
he's like,
does.
oh,
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
So your production process when you're in the studio, you tend to take more of a collaborative, creative approach with your producer, Harry.
It's kind of like where the ideas people, and he gets the final say for the most part, which is really nice for a new thing.
yeah.
There is
Yeah.
one
Learn
song
from
that
it.
has a full minute where the only people who play on it are Rowan and Harry. we will not say what that song is. You can find out later.
Campbell played a drill
Stay
part.
tuned, huh?
Oh, I did play the drill in that
Yes.
song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The drill.
Yeah, I put a drill in front of a guitar pickup and went,
Wow.
Yeah.
the best thing on the
Very
album.
experimental by
It
the
is.
sounds of it.
Yeah.
So, in terms of how you guys approach production now versus in the past, you used to do a lot of self-production. Weekends was 100% self-produced.
Yeah.
How have you found working with a producer and kind of taking a step back from that process in that sense?
It's been incredible. Like, so the whole idea, like, for us, because obviously, like, Campbell and I are very much into music production and I absolutely love it. So we kind of went, okay, Campbell was producing the first EP, I'd do the second one, and then we'd work with the producer on the third. And we got halfway through the second EP and everything was sounding really good, but it was just taking us so long, like, for it to get to the point where we're like, okay. So we got like 2 songs completely mixed and produced, and then after that we were just stagnated. And I don't know who it was. It might have even been Rowan going like, maybe we should just send it to someone else.
I was
pretty
like, hey
sure
guys, I know a guy named Mr. Fortnite, and he will take care
He
of
was
this.
like,
And
yeah.
then he did.
And then he did.
And then we
Bum, bum.
hired him as our permanent guy.
Yeah.
So
for this
most
project.
of the money you make from merch sales or whatnot, you invest directly back into production?
Pretty much every
Yeah.
dollar
Oh,
we've
yeah.
ever made from the band has been invested back into the band. I think
Yeah.
we've been paid twice.
Wow.
And they're like
Yeah.
special events.
Yeah, that's always just been when
Yeah.
we've been slipped cash. And then
Yeah.
like, okay, rather than putting this into the account, if
Yeah.
we get
Like,
if we get $100
$200
just
cash,
$200
$50
cash, we'll
or
just-
something.
yeah.
And you
Yeah.
guys are at the point now where you're not doing any free work
Pretty
for the
much
most
no.
part.
For the most part, I think occasionally, like, if something pops up and it's a meaningful thing,
Yeah.
we'll go, hey, like, that's cool.
But majority of your gigs are paid.
Well,
you
we
sell
need to cover our
merch.
baseline costs,
Yeah.
really. Like,
Because
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
two
the
of
main
us are in
thing.
Brisbane, 2 are in Toowoomba.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
anytime we're doing a gig, someone is traveling.
yeah.
So, do you guys make much from streaming?
Nope.
No.
I think we made $13 once.
Nah.
What's our total?
I think we're at like maybe $150, and that's like
Yeah.
all time. And I think
What's
that's
that, like 55K streams or something?
yeah, something like that. I'd have to have a look at the stats, but yeah, it's not much.
No.
Like, it's nothing to.
We've made more on 3 t-shirts than we've made in streaming.
Yeah.
How do you guys go about with distribution?
Yeah, we just swapped over platform actually, over to GyroStream, because we were with another streaming service, but they were like offshore. They weren't from Australia, and then GyroStream is based in Brisbane. I think they've got an office in the Valley, and went, you know, like all of our favorite Australian artists, most of which are with GyroStream or like doing stuff, and they've been great. Our
We
songs are
basically
still
just
on
got kind of
Spotify, so that's
hassled for
cool.
6 months for like
Yeah.
not being with them, and then went, oh, okay, we'll swap. And
So
it's
they
been
reached out
awesome.
to you?
Sorry.
Did they reach out to
And
you?
then Mr. Harrison was like,
Yeah.
you
Oh.
guys.
He was
should
telling
be
you
that
to get
other
on
guy.
You
it.
shouldn't be with the other guy.
You gotta listen to
Support
him.
the little guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you find kind of looking at what other bands in the Australian scene are doing, and
We probably don't do that enough, to be honest.
Hmm.
We're very insular. We don't. Yeah. I guess for like stage kind of energy and presence and performance, it's definitely like look what this other band is doing.
Yeah.
But in terms of like management and just the business side of the band, it's all been like let's do it ourselves, and then we mess something up and then we change it and fix it.
yeah,
Because I mean, it's like unless you hit up other people that you know kind of in the music, it's not like there's a lot of I don't know.
Transparency.
Yeah, that
Mm.
information's not really
that's true.
super easy to come by unless you have a connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is actually. It's kind of a hard industry to crack. But
All
then,
the bands do things differently as well, so you can't just like
I
Mm.
also wonder though if that's like a part of like musicians also I feel like don't ask lots of questions because I feel like a lot of people think there's a lot of industry secrets, so people don't ask the questions.
I think that's actually
and
very
I
much
think,
the case as well.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think we're like so guilty of that. Of like
we rock up to a gig and then play the gig, and then we're like, how much have we paid for this gig? I don't know. We should probably ask them.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like musicians are more open than what musicians think they are.
it's just
like,
about
in the
actually
scene.
asking and
Yeah, I
and
feel like
finding
people are
out.
too shy to ask questions because they're afraid of like getting pushed back. Because that happens so much in this industry. Like it's most of the time you will send an email to someone. They're like, "Oh, yep, cool song, but I'm
Not
not
for
putting
us."
it on. Yeah, not for
Yeah.
us.
But like
Not on my
next time.
show. Like send us another one in 6 months." I'm like, yeah. So I feel like people just don't ask the questions.
So you've got to be pretty resilient to kind of get to where you guys are and keep going.
Yeah, definitely. Like,
If you can't handle getting knocked down a few times, then you will be eaten alive.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and it's not fun. And like that's just our experience too. Like I know like there's been some bands that have just like cracked it straight away
Oh,
and they're
yeah.
like they don't have to play the shows to 5 people.
Mm.
Like they just go straight through and
Name
it's-
a band that does that.
Well, actually,
Didn't Pop
recently,
Music kind of do that.
I don't know.
have you
I don't
guys
know.
heard of Monstera?
Yeah.
They've kind of popped up out of nowhere,
yeah.
but in a really good way.
Yeah, so Maggie, who is now in Monstera, Campbell and
Yeah.
I played with her
Yeah.
for a couple of shows.
Maggie Elise.
Maggie Elise. She's also a
Oh.
very good musician.
But yeah, I feel
Right.
like they've just kind of found their entry into the
Mm.
industry through a lot of those like community initiatives. So like the
Mm.
Cube Effect they're doing, some of the
Yeah.
Battle of the Bands.
Mm.
Yeah, is that something you guys have considered or?
We did a Battle of the Bands.
Yeah.
It was on Origin night.
Yeah, we went up
Yeah.
against the football.
It
was not
It's
good.
a Wednesday night in the valley. It's like I don't
And-
know. Battle of the Bands are kind of odd, and it was like just based on the amount of tickets that people got, and you got
Yeah.
a ticket each time you bought a drink. So
So basically, it was whoever's drinking the most is going to win.
Yeah, I can see how that.
And
Yeah.
the people that won that night were Chamberlain.
And they
Yeah.
deserved it.
They
They,
deserved
were,
it.
they were
Yeah.
fantastic.
but they were all smashed.
yeah.
yes, they were.
Can't blame them. They're great guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. They are a band that are like absolutely cracking it at the
Yeah,
moment.
they
Oh,
they
yeah.
absolutely deserved that.
Yeah.
No, they're
They
opening
were
like
the
the
best band.
mystery band soon.
Yeah.
When is that?
Or just have, or like in a couple of weeks.
They're
yeah.
going to be?
And I think
Yeah.
they like I don't know how long that they'd been going either, but they were like one of those bands was like, oh, who's this Chamberlain band? Played with them, and then they're like
Yeah, 6
just
months
released
later,
a
they're opening
single,
for the
and they're
Spirits.
like yeah, doing
Wow.
heaps of stuff. It's really cool. It's an exciting time to be part of the Brisbane music scene.
The Brisbane music scene is just like it's phenomenal here. There's people just doing the best things,
Yeah.
which is part of the reason why we wanted to make this podcast because, like,
There's a lot of people doing cool
yeah,
stuff.
there's some really
Yeah.
great music. You guys are a part of it. So maybe we should talk about what's to come. What should we expect from you guys moving forward?
Better music.
Mm.
I think.
Very different, more produced sound.
Yeah.
Definitely refined.
Probably it's a lot more thoughtful, I think.
More purposeful.
Yeah.
Mm.
You guys were talking like about really kind of paring back your gigs to be very purposeful and specific in where you're playing and what you're doing. Are you going to be releasing some singles leading up to the album you're working on now?
That's the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're hoping to do like a couple of single tours and then hopefully an album tour that will be very good. But
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to plan for that sort of stuff.
It's a long way out,
yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so interesting. Like even just dropping singles. Like we pumped a bunch of money into like one single that like is, I think, our worst performing song.
Yeah, it is
And
the one we
Which one was
pumped the
that?
most money
That was
into, and it is
Thinking
performed the
Too
worst.
Much with Amy Elise.
Yeah.
And like it's a really cool song, and like we were like, hell yeah, like we'll post like pump money into Facebook ads and all that sort of stuff. And then we just dropped Grandma's Curtains and we like did 2 posts about it.
Yeah,
and
we-
it's
we
like our
put-
best song that
We
we've,
spent no
like,
money on promo
performing
for
song.
Grandma's Curtains, and it is just, I think, about a week ago became our biggest song. on
Yeah.
Spotify.
Isn't it
So
funny
it's-
how those things happen?
It's just
It's
Spotify
hard.
algorithm for that. It's like
yeah.
it got picked up by Spotify algorithm, and now
Yeah.
we have like a bunch of UK and USA listeners,
Wow.
specifically for
But
that
it's-
one song.
Yeah,
It's
But it
so
had
hard
just
to
that
only
one
that
song.
song.
like it's so like you just don't know what to do because we thought we did all of the right things for like this one single, did nothing, and then we did all of the like the quote unquote wrong things, and like we've like our biggest song.
It's also fundamentally just not a single song. Like it's got a really
Yeah.
slow build up kind of thing. It's like really
Yeah, there's
relaxed
about
and chill. There's no
15
like
seconds of
hard hitting
nothing.
intro or anything like that.
Yeah, we'll
Which
play it for you
usually
in a minute.
people are like, oh, your singles should be like super a comprehensive short song that's like hard hitting.
Yeah.
So it makes it really hard to decide like what song are we gonna. Ooh,
Oh.
The set's falling apart.
I was actually like 100% waiting for the dinosaur noise.
Oh my god!
Shout out Tristan.
Shout out to Tristan Hagedorn. That fella, he's got several sets of those bad
He's got
boys. at
7 of
home.
the like large dinosaur plushies.
Wow.
In his bed
Yeah.
that he sleeps with every
A
night.
true
Yeah.
dinosaur fan.
And he's
Yeah.
got a dinosaur rug.
Yeah,
And he exclusively eats the dinosaur shaped chicken nuggets.
yeah. He's
Okay,
Breakfast,
but-
lunch, and sometimes
He's
dinner.
done
Dino
it.
nuggets are
They are
much
good.
better than
They're
regular
good.
nuggets.
Tempura
They're
dino
good
nuggets,
nuggets.
man.
Have you
Yeah.
ever had them at the museum? In
No,
I think I've never been
I
to the
think
museum.
that's something I want to do now.
100% go to the museum and get dinosaur nuggets.
I
Oh
want
no,
dino
we're going
dogs.
after this.
Yeah, yeah,
We are so off topic.
yeah. Cardboard Cutouts album coming soon.
Food review
Food
Yeah.
review.
also coming soon.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that.
Food, yeah. Let's do a little chicken nugget blind taste test. Are dinosaur nuggets really better than average
Give us
chicken
6
nugget
months and
shaped
we'll get it
nuggets?
done for
Yeah.
you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be waiting.
While
Yeah.
we're off topic, I just realized that we've got the same skin condition. That's during this podcast.
Skin condition.
On our arms. We have the same skin condition. I
That's
just noticed that.
Seb just realized he had a skin condition.
Yeah, I love being diagnosed.
Yeah.
Buddy, you got bumps on your arm.
I got bumps in my arm. I do have bumps.
You got chicken skin.
Chicken skin.
Yeah.
Chicken skin, chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
Yep, it's on
true.
topic.
Yeah.
We don't have any songs that have chicken or nuggets in them.
Oh,
that are
there
coming
you
out.
go.
Yeah.
But
Challenge
there
for
is
the next
mustard.
album. Oh, mustard.
Yeah, there is mustard.
There's some mustard in there.
There's Vegemite.
There's Vegemite.
Ooh.
We are like pulling out all the stops
Yeah.
on this
All the
new album.
condiments.
Particularly
So many
Keen's
condiments.
mustard.
So I guess
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
could say that this album's going to be well seasoned.
It will be well seasoned. It will be. We'll be a sprinkle of this. We'll sprinkle of that.
Okay, so where should people go to keep an eye on you guys? Know when you're gigging, know when your music's coming out.
Instagram and Facebook. That's what we use. Occasionally you'll get a TikTok, but generally it's just me goofing around in the shed.
Yeah.
And then Spotify, because Spotify means you can listen to our music and hopefully like it. And
Stream
then-
Grandma's Curtains.
And
Yeah.
share it to people.
and share it to
Oh,
people.
Share it on Facebook. So all of the grandparents in your life can go, oh, this is a song.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the
my
thing
about
about
our
people
curtains
missing out
Is
about
interested
Facebook.
in, and then you'll have like a deep and meaningful conversation about your grandparents. You probably will reach out to in like the last few weeks, and you probably should do that.
You probably should.
That's
Reach
not
out to
targeting
your
anyone, but
grandparents.
like
Jeez.
people should do that.
People should check in on their grandparents
Yeah,
because
give
you
them
know
a call. Like
you
Shout
never know
out
when
Woody
it's
bring
gonna
up
be
a
Joe.
childhood
later.
memory.
Thanks, Bob and Lynn.
That's what the song's about, really. I guess.
Thanks, Nanny
Not
K.
really, but that can be your interpretation of it.
Quick shout
It
out
is called
to our
Grandma's
moms, Mama Mel,
Mama Mel.
Kylie, and Mama Wendy,
And Kylie.
and a Kylie.
Yeah, and also Jackson, our old bass player's mum is Kylie.
There's also Kylie. There's
We
so many
replaced
Kylies,
one
what the
bass
hell?
player whose mum was Kylie with another one whose
So what
name.
you're saying is
Your
bass
mum jokes are
players
really
have
confusing.
mothers called Kylie.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's been
It's
proven
true.
in this very space.
It's scientific.
I actually think
scientific.
everyone's mum is actually just Kylie.
Secretly.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, well, on that note, I think we should
I'm outta here, I
hear
wanna go
some of
home.
your stuff.
Oh.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to have a listen, hear some Cardboard Cutouts, and they can run to Spotify,
And
add it
stream
to their
home.
playlist.
Yeah.
Stream Cardboard Cutouts, stream Home, stream Grandma's Curtains.
Yeah.
Stream Thinking Too Much.
Yeah, stream thinking too much.
No,
we
no,
need the
let's-
numbers.
Let's focus on Grandma's Curtains here, guys.
Yeah. We'll really run that one hard.
Yeah, what do you guys say? Want to
Yeah,
play
it
some
sounds good.
stuff?
Let's play some stuff.
Awesome,
Perfect.
let's do it.
Awesome. Thanks, Britannia. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. We are Cardboard Cutouts. Welcome to our humble house of fun. This is Grandma's Curtains. We hope that you enjoy. I like you when you're crawling. It makes me smile. These gardens beg for drawing. Get your paper and I'll get mine. And fantasy, it belongs with you and me. Beneath the trees with the flowers and the wayward vines is a world where we're together just to waste our time. Don't have to wait for this again. Hold my hand, pull yourself against me. Let's go have a race and we'll sweat till we break. And I'll fall for you. Come sit with me by Grandma's curtains. Warm up your drink, let's fill our hearts. We'll drift away where we'll be safe, and we'll long for this forever in fantasy. It belongs with you and me. Beneath the trees with the flowers and the wayward vines is a world where we're together just to waste our fantasy. It belongs with you and me. Beneath the trees with the flowers and the wayward vines is a world where we're together just to waste our time. Fuck yeah, this is Light Sleeper. Take 2 because we fucked up the first one. If you wanna stay, you can go to the couch, cause I'm a sleepyhead, don't take it personal, mate. I swear that you aren't the only one. Fuck a pillow, use a goodbye tonight. You're running for the rest of your best, not right, I don't care. Let's go to bed, cause I'm a light sleeper. I don't keep her, you keep your key on, but I'm on hanging for the reefer. You can't come around and celebrate. I can go to bed cause we're hanging in my place, yeah. Come back tomorrow, you can pick up your beers. I'll be awake at 8 now if they're here for a week.
think I can go there. If they're here for a day, I can still take a sip. Now it's all for the taking. If you leave a mess, you better be ready for this. I won't catch you on the flip side. Party players stuck into the wrong side. So I'm a night sleeper. I don't keep up. You keep kicking on, but I'm not hanging for the reaper. You can't come around and celebrate. I can go to bed 'cause you're hanging at my place. I'm a light sleeper. I don't keep up. You keep kicking on, but I'm not hanging for the reaper. You can't come around and celebrate. I can go to bed 'cause you're hanging at my place, yeah.
Mr. Campbell Patterson on the guitar over there.
Instead there's pent-up anger, cracks emerging from my shell. And I've not been strong enough. Oh, turns out my whole life's just full of luck. I've been waiting to clear my head. I hope you're never coming back. 5 long years and I'm still off the track, and you plagued me from inside. Never got the chance to give a piece of my mind, but trying to clear my head. Wasting too much time around this, but my heart's too strong to find it on the tip of my tongue. You waited so long, you stripped me of the pleasure. Only 18, but like I was aging to a washed-up man. Spent up all his eye, trying to find something, but it never lit the dark. And I suppose I hope you're never coming back. 5 long years and I'm still off the track, and you baby from inside. Never got the chance to